seen each other a few years ago when Rafael's book launch of Summit was held at Pasig City. So we thank Anwar Prado Alcantara for then and now being our anchor in Zimbabwe. So she is our lady in the bridge that allowed us to come here. Outside there is an exhibit that many people from Ateneo worked on very fast. Campus ministry, Macondo Boys, interdisciplinary studies. I hope we get a chance to take a look outside. I found out about Rafael passing away. It was actually my husband, Oliver, who doesn't work in Ateneo, but he's an English, who found out ahead of me, but did not wake me up today. And he waited until I stirred in the morning before saying, wala na si Rafael. And that was Tuesday. And I felt natanawa na ko ng precious hours to start the exhibit. Kung sinabi niya na mas maaga, naiyakan mo na yung Facebook feed at nakapag-chat na ako. So, but I think that the timing is all good. Tuesday, when we asked the GC of Jesuits if any of them could come to us, the answer came in minutes before the hour was up. So we thank Father Noel for being one of the first to respond. And then 3 other Jesuits are coming tomorrow morning. And to think it's on short notice, this is hard, and there are other funeral masses going on. So, although malungkot, Rafael always had the power to bring people together. So when he brought everyone to submit, which was his memoirs in vignettes of poems and short stories and prose, I felt that Rafael was throwing a little party of his dreams. Made them more, their food, their friends, their family, and he was beating, like a leprechaun. I was also the MC at the time. Dapat si Ken. So Ken and I also organized the festival during the pandemic. The festival in honor of Rafael Bingon. So kami rin pinag-iwan. So tonight, we have invited just a few people who know Rafael really, really well because their friendship runs very deep through the decades. The first person who I'm going to call was with Rafael when he was in his early days in the English department. And then when he became chair of the Department of Interdisciplinary Studies, she became his dean. And then she became vice president for higher education of the whole Ateneo. This is the time naman that Rafael had retirement, and also the time that the whole happened and he went back to some family. I would like to call on a friend for many, many seasons who have seen all the facets of Rafael's sparkling life. Let us call Marlon Delicious. Sorry. Don't have it stand hard. Mama.
I don't remember being properly introduced to Rafael when I was a new faculty member in the Ateneo. The English department where I was on the 3rd floor of Costa Hall. That's how long ago it was. And the Interdisciplinary Studies department was on the 2nd floor of the same Costa Hall. But really, Rafael was like a member of the unspoken welcoming committee. He blended with Kula personalities and was always the smiling figure on the corridor, ready to say hello to newcomers like me. He was always there as a reassuring presence. Because of our common love for literature, we gravitated toward British Council events, especially since he had been a recipient of a scholarship from the British Council, which made him a resident fellow at the famous Portland Council in Scotland, and I had also the opportunity to get similar British Council grants. So we would wine and dine at the British Ambassador's residence during Queen Elizabeth's birthdays, or hobnob with Fulbrighters and the U.S. and other U.S. cultural affairs guests at the 4th of July celebrations with fireworks on display. There was a time when we presented papers at a literary conference in Hong Kong with a crowd from UP and Ateneo trying to vie for who was the fairest of them all. But Rufel was unbothered. He knew his place in the sun, and that would not be toppled. Those were fun days of work without admin duties. But wait, even with admin duties later, we managed time to gather as groups of friends. The photo that you see there, I chose to put on display is a guest school photo, taken at a Mardi Gras dinner, hosted by Edna Malapas at her home in La Vista. I don't know if you can guess. But on the first row, that's me, Marjo Ruiz, Eva Corio, and Edna Malapas. On the second row, that's Rufel, Action Craig King, Edward Calasanz, and Tonette Angeles. At a certain point, when I was an English department chair, we both taught back-to-back the Jesuit juniors. Father Wayne Baba, who is here, was one of them. He taught them writing in Filipino, and I taught them English writing. He was a great teacher. He became a lifeline and a lifetime core personality to a lot of them. Unimposing and simply himself, ready to listen and care. When Ondoy happened that devastated many people, one of the creative moves that he did was to design a course in tandem with Dr. Emily Wang of the psychology department. The course was entitled Writing for Healing. And I think that was a welcome one by the students. When I became Dean of the School of Humanities, Rufel became more than just a friend companion to social and literary events. He rose up to become one of my pillars of strengths. His brainchild was the creation of a think tank group for the humanities. He wanted to help me widen the network that would provide recommendations on where the humanities could grow. So he helped me compose that think tank group, Jane Ovilenia, Erwin Yongso, who is now at Georgetown University, Rico Gonzalez, Tim Lau, and Rufel himself. The meeting sparked off a lot of ideas, including what later on became the masterclass lectures where Robert Guevara would teach in the different theology classes his most important lecture, The Prodigal Son, and would benefit all those taking theology courses. There was also the interdisciplinary course that I experimented, where the students were specifically chosen to come from different fields to solve one wicked problem from their discipline's lenses. Later on, when I became VP for Loyola Schools, Rufel also formed part of the core group that conceptualized what is now the established Digital Martial Law Museum. He was very good at identifying people who could help, from Erwin Yongson in PC to Ken Abante, who was still in transition from the Department of Finance at that time, to Josh Oineng and many other young people that helped in that venture, always with the mentorship of Rufel's. He was there until we reached the point where we had a beta launch. You remember that, Ken? A beta launch of this project and engaged interested groups external to the university to be part of this advocacy. And you see now it is already an established Digital Martial Law Museum. So it was piloted in my office and then I gave it to the RGL source. When I was appointed VP for Higher Education, he sent me this message. Good morning. Congratulations on your appointment, our first VPHE. I'm very glad. Please remember that I'm very willing to help you in any way I can. And he did in many ways. He would send me feedback on happenings around campus and would sit down with me for some solutions. He would send me messages of support. Quote, I'm very particular, you remained steadfast and compassionate. He would exchange notes on how he was, especially during the pandemic. He sent me this message during the pandemic. May I just say that because of the support Ateneo gives us, despite the pandemic, the past year has been very good to me, especially in terms of work. I never imagined I would be this productive, nor enjoy work as much in the midst of a crisis. I sleep and wake up with gratitude. That's Ruthel, simply lovable Ruthel. Much later on after that, Ruthel turned into spirituality. He became part of the campus ministry group, giving retreats and recollections. I took part in one of his retreats at the Senatals. There he combined creativity, as in writing creatively, and spirituality. It was a refreshing retreat. Before we knew it, all of us in that retreat were reciting our poetry to one another. Ruthel had a natural way of making you do what you thought you couldn't do. When I set up my own meditation group, I took part in it a few times, especially during the pandemic. My last prolonged conversation with him was in December 2020, when he did an interview with me on Zoom about my views of life, service, work, leadership, challenges, and many others. It was a refreshing conversation. He asked questions that made me reflect on experiences that I had not had the time to do so. It was aired on January 12, 2021 on Radio Katipunan. And you can look for it on YouTube. I lost my copy, but at that time we were trying to delete files in the G drive, but I was able to recover it when I asked Dix, can you find out where this is? Because I need it. So I found out it's on YouTube if you're interested. And then I did a write-up for his fest trade, put together by Nick Rasticus and Ken Barker. I chose to write Memories of Home, a description of snippets of my simple life when I was growing up in a rural environment in Lakewood. I thought it was fitting for Ruthel, whose simplicity was very much captured in his poetry. Simple but deeply relatable, one that would cut to the core. When he was already ill and didn't want any visitors, I would send him text messages. On his birthday, I would send out goodies. He was always grateful. Even if I was unable to visit him, I didn't feel apart from him because he was alive in my daily prayer. I thank Ruthel for his companionship in leisure and in work, and for his support in my tasks as an admin, as an administrator. I send him to the Father with blessings as I read this poem from one of my favorite Irish writers, John O'Donoghue. Blessing by John O'Donoghue. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken you a meadow of delight. When the canvas sprays in the current of thought, and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. So farewell now, Ruthel. Thank you for your love and care. May the angels in heaven take you to the Father's presence, singing for joy.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Maru. Ma'am Maru mentioned that Ruthel's other home is also the campus ministry. Every year after retirement, the head of campus ministry, Christina Soberano, is here, and we will talk about Ruthel's renewal every year and paano namin pagkahatian ang allowable units niya. Sometimes 9 units with us, 6 units with them, sometimes 9 units with them, 6 units with us. We both want him. Now, I'd like to acknowledge that the campus ministers, they did the mass. Please raise your hands or stand up if you're here. You see, many more people from campus ministry wanted to come, and there was supposed to be a full van. But the Ateneo community is heartbroken at the moment because of the death of student athletes. And when the community is faced with a tragic situation, campus ministers have to work locally hard as people turn to prayer when they can't do much else. So, na-break yung team. And so they turned to other teams. The secretaries that worked with Rafael Rion from the IS department became choir today. Stand up, Rocky and Sherry were working with Rafael Rion and with them, they're carrying to one down. So our choir today was Campus Ministry /IS for the whole departments of Rafael. Ma'am Marno also mentioned that Rafael knew who to ask, who would be willing to help. Parang niya ako na-ask ko times, and parang never naman ako nag-know sa kanya. But it's not just me. The other people who on Tuesday formed an organizing committee was headed by Ken Abante. And the graphics that you saw, that's Arvin Basa, Daniel Benito, and Josh Ukem, who was also mentioned by Ma'am Marno. The video, Kevin Chan. The exhibit, I was the head of it, but everybody really helped outside. And the music, thank you very much to Adela of the family and my cousin Adela for singing, and Ricky for playing the saxophone, and we'll have one music. Now, Rafael was part of a very important unofficial hour block within Ateneo, known unofficially as the Forum. And you saw them in a masquerade masks kanina. Yung photo na yun, that is a power photo. Very influential people. One of them is here tonight. And so we will call one of the strong men of Ateneo, who was Rafael's longtime friend of decades. You will see in the pictures now the length of that friendship, the depth of it. May I please call on Mr. Lee.
Ito po kami sa barkada namin, malinaw na pito. We called ourselves, other people call us the firm. People who don't like us call us the firm. Among ourselves, we called ourselves the Group of Seven, G7. Kaya malinaw talaga ng pito kami. We called ourselves G7. 1 year, gumawa pa si Toret ng mga t-shirt para sa amin. Para may uniform daw kami. So we have a lot of pictures na kami pito yung kasama over the years. Maraming nagtatanong paano kami naging matalik na kaibigan. Magkakaibang disiplina kami, no? So si Mary Joy is from ako sa business. Si Rafael, Filipino, English, Interdisciplinary Studies. Si Tonet, Philosophy. Si Action, Chemistry. Tapos, well, may overlook kami ng philosophers kasi si Eddie Boyd and Nemi were both also from philosophy. Paano kami naging matalik na kaibigan? Di katulad ng mga kwento ni Marlo na very academic, mga involvements. Naging matalik kaming kaibigan dahil sa ka-job. When Mary Jo was Dean of the School of Arts and Sciences, kami yung mga department chair niya. So yung department chair ng management, department chair ng CHEM, department chair ng IS, department chair ng TITO, maraming planning seminar at sa leadership training. Sa gabi, pagkatapos ng trabaho, magmamajob kami. Maraming magandang nagiging bunga ng majob. At ang pagkakaibigan namin ay isang bunga rin ng majob. So, since the 90s, early 90s, solid kami. Kami pito, we've always Other friends join us, they come and go, pero kami pito malinaw. Hindi the firm. G7. Some years ago, actually, Nancy and I worked on a book called Athenians Inspiring Athletes. Yung sa 350th anniversary ng Ateneo, we asked 150 Athenians to write about other Athenians who have inspired them. I wrote an essay for that book. Yung essay ko was called, I entitled it, It Isn't Always Lonely at the Top. Hindi po isang tao ang sinabi kong inspirasyon ko. Ang sinabi kong inspirasyon ko, yung barkada namin, yung anim na kasama ko sa barkada, including Prophet. And why did I call it as not to be lonely at the top? Kasi kami naging high-level administrator sa Ateneo. At pag high-level administrator, maraming slings and slings and animals of outrageous fortune. Imposible naman na yung gagawin mo will make everyone happy. Palaging may unhappy. Palaging may reklamo. Palaging may magduduma. Palaging magbabash. So that's why being leaders and administrators can be lonely. But the reason I entitled my essay, it doesn't have to be lonely at the top. Kasi may barkada ako na tumutulong sa akin. Yung happy moments, yung achievements, we share with each other. Naalala ko when I was first named Dean sa School of Management, si Rafael ang sumama sa akin. Saan kami pumunta? Sabi niya, pumunta tayo sa SM, pupunta tayo sa Onesimus. Ngayong Dean ka na, hindi na pwede yung mga checkered polo shirts mo, kailangan magbalong ka na magbusok na yaman. Sinamahan niya ako sa SM, siya yung namili ng mga balong na susutin doon. Ngayong ibang level ka na, Dean ka na daw. We have many happy moments here. Kung hindi academic, wala akong academic, hindi kami nagtutula. Hindi na ako marunong ng mga sulat. So I don't have academic activities to look at. Social, kainan, kwentuhan, tawanan, at minsan iyakan. Pag masama yung loob ko, pag hindi ko na kaya yung sama ng loob ko, sa kanila ako pumupunta, iniiyakan ko sila. A lot of people cannot imagine me crying, but I do. At konti lang nakakakita sa maybe tonight, but hopefully not tonight. Konti lang nakakakita sa akin kung lang. Ito mga kaibigan ko, sila yung iniiyakan ko. Sila yung shoulder for me to cry on. Si Rafael ang isa sa aking pinakamatapang na tagapagtanggol. Pag nasa faculty lounge, hindi ako pumunta sa faculty lounge. Please quote me to my boss. Nagtatrabaho ako sa computer, kumakain ako habang nasa computer. Hindi ako pumunta sa faculty lounge. Kasi si Rafael nasa faculty lounge. At may nagre-reklamo tungkol sa akin. Si Rafael yung makikipag-away sa kanya. Sabi niya, he's my friend. Hindi siya nagpwede sa akin, may nag-report sa akin. Grabe yung Rafael yan, hindi depensa ka. You are his friend now. It doesn't matter kung napalit niya yung point of view ng tao. It doesn't matter if he was able to convince a person to change his point of view. At the back of my mind, napaka-consoling naman na may kaibigan kang ganyan, ipagtatanggol ka. Our friendship was forged at evening socials, during planning seminars and leadership workshops. And after that, si Rafael ang social director namin. Malinaw, binigyan namin siya ng title. Sabi nga, Rafael from now on, ikaw ang social director. Ikaw ang co-coordinate ng mga schedule. Ikaw ang paplano ng lakad. So together, siyempre medyo banda rito yung mga lakad namin. No? So like sa Casa San Pablo sometimes, or field trips, day trips sa Casa San Pablo. Pumunta kami ng Hidden Valley, dito Pinunta namin yung workshop ni Ugu, na mapalit din ng kaibigan ni Robert. Kung magsisale, sasabihin niya sa amin, magsisale ni Ugu, punta tayo the day before the sale para massage ang tao. Tapos mahilig siya mag-foot massage. Ako ang nag-introduce sa kanila sa favorite foot massage place ko, yung foot zone sa Annapolis Street sa Gildes. Dapat sa aking kaalaman, kahit hindi ako kasama, pumupunta si Robert sa foot zone para mag-foot massage. Akala ko yung regular foot massage na namin, yung mga secret foot massage na rin pala siya. Ang daming dinner, ang daming lakad, ang daming social aksaya, and food. Lots of food. Conversations. Lots of conversations. War stories, so kung sa akin na yun. Nai-imagine ko itong crisis na atin ngayon. Pero nai-imagine ko na masasabi ko, stress ako. Mag-dinner naman tayo. And sa kanila ako, magbubuhos ng sama ng loob. Kami ang emotional support namin. But yun naman tayo notice na, as I was writing this. Hindi kami binubuhos ni Rafael ng mga aches and hardships na. Nakikis parang ang selfish namin. Kami yung buhos ng buhos. Si Colette, si Action, never even problems in life. He kept listening, kept consoling, pero parang sa iba ko pa naririnig yung mga aches and hurts and problems ni Rafael. Naririnig namin sa iba. Hindi siya masyadong nagbubuo sa amin. Siguro, parang nakikita niya yung role niya is siya ang magkukonsol sa amin. Marami kami chismis about showbiz. About Rafael's favorite Nora Honor. And we have many deep thoughts and conversations. I'll give you an example of one of our deep thoughts. I always ask this question, hindi pa rin nasasagot ng maayos the question ko. Sabi ko, Rafael, bakit si Eddie Boy, pagtawag ko sa kanya na Eddie Boy? Si Tonet, pag tinatawag ko siya, Tonet. Si Acho, ba't ako, Rudy Ann? Ko kasama niya. May konting racism ba yan? Kasi madalas pag nag-argue kami, ang sasagutin sa akin, chika kasi. Hanggang yun, hindi ko pa alam yung sagot sa tanong na yun. Pati sina Eddie Boy, kahit sina Tonet, pagtawag sa akin, palagi na, Rudy Ann, kumain tayo sa ganito. Rudy at saka Action, magsindami lang naman ng sila mo. Tonet daw, sila mo din. Bakit ako pati apelido ko? Palaging kadugtong ng pangalan ko. Ganyan kalaki yung mga conversation namin minsan. Yun yung philosophical questions. Maraming kaibigan si Rafael. Ang nakakaingit sa kanya, somehow, kahit yung mga 50 na, 50 years younger than him, nakakabarkada niya. I often wonder, does hanging out with younger people make him feel younger? Kasi what I find is when I hang out with younger people, I feel older. Kasi hindi na ako makarelate eh. Nora Vilma Santos, parang alam namin. Eh sila yung na young artist, hindi ko naman yung mga pangalan na. Yung music mo ever since iTunes came out, tapos naging Spotify. At pinapakinggan ko na lang music ng 80s. Hindi ko na lang yung mga music na pinapakinggan ng kapatid. Pero si Rafael hindi nahirapan mag-connect sa mas bata. Minsan na lang manonood ako ng play, tapos makikita ko siya. Mga estudyante niya kasama niya, mga former students na kasama niya. So ang daming close friends niya. Hindi kami nag-iingit. May t-shirt pa kayo na may pangalan ng grupo niyo. Kaya hindi namin kayo pakasensitosan. Kami may t-shirt. At pagka pagkakilala ko kay Rafael, I think I try to summarize in 3 M's. Malikhain, matapang. I was choosing between matapang and matapay. Sabi ko, hindi, it's more matapang than matapang. And most of all, mapagmahal. Mapagmahal. Parang ang dami ng kaibigan dahil ang dami ng pagmamahal na mai-share sa ibang tao. And I don't think anyone ever felt kulang sa pagmamahal. Kahit ang dami niyang minamahal. I have to say it's getting lonelier and lonelier for me sa akin. Kasi isa na nawawala, di mo na. Kaibigan namin. Rafael would have written a poem to remind us all about all the good things. Hindi ko kaya yan. So I'll just share a cheesy quotation that I found. Pasensya na po, posible na sa Hallmark card lang ang quotation na ito. Hindi makakaagad sulat ito. Posible ko na. Always remember to forget the things that make you sad. But never forget to remember the things that make you glad. But the sentence there. Always remember to forget the things that make you sad. But never forget to remember the things that make you glad. When my mother died some years ago, I kept thinking about the things we had said we would do na hindi pa namin nagagawa. The things that I still wanted to say to her kasi bigla siya namatay. I didn't have the chance to really say goodbye. The places I had promised that I would someday take her na hindi pa ako nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na dahil siya doon. Palaging nasa isip ko nung namatay namin. Today, many years later, hindi na yan ang iniisip ko. Ang iniisip ko are the happy things, the happy times we spent together, yung mga mama kisses that made her who she was, the love we had for family to each other. I can't wait to get to that point in the future. Kasi ngayon, masakit eh. But someday, I know, wala na yung sakit, at ang maaalala lang natin yung mga happy memories in the future. Someday, but not yet today. Hindi ako pinaka-close kay Rafael sa barkada namin. The reason I was assigned to do this, sabi niya, I am the least likely na humutulog. At sabi ni Colette, sabi ni Action, kung sila yun, hindi nila kaya, ikaw na lang. So I promise hindi ako hahapon. It now seems to be a bit of a blessing that the last few years, Rafael had withdrawn from us. Lumipat siya sa San Pablo, medyo malayo, kaya hindi palaging magaling dalawin. As ayaw din niya, di ba? You have to ask his permission to visit him. In a way, parang naging blessing. Kasi medyo nasanay kami na wala si Rafael sa araw-araw. At ngayon, madaling isipin na dyan lang siya sa San Pablo. Hindi natin nakikita kasi nasa San Pablo siya. Hindi pa siya nawawala sa akin. The last time I saw Rafael was on his birthday, 2024. Pinilit namin siya na we'll take him out to birthday lunch. Sure ka sa San Pablo, doon kami ng lunch. Ayan yung picture sa gitna. That was our birthday lunch with Rafael sa Casa San Pablo. That's the last time I saw him face to face. My last message to him was on June 5. Nakauwi na siya from the hospital at the time. So ang message ko sa kanya, Rafael, payagan mo naman kami na dalawin ka. Pero hindi ko siya nagsagot sa message niya. My dear Rafael, you left us so suddenly, we didn't really get to say goodbye. But I know that between us, no words have been left unspoken. Alam naman namin mahal kami. And alam mo, na mahal ka namin. Yung barkada namin sa Sinere, so na una, she died in 2024. Give Mary Jo a kind hug for us when we meet her up there. And hold our seats for us in that great restaurant up in the sky. I know that someday we'll sit around a table again together, enjoy our favorite foods, toast to each other over a good glass of wine, and share our Ateneo stories once again. In time na sa sobrang busog ni Eddie Boy, humiga siya, tapos gumulog siya. Para marami and happy memories. Make sure to reserve a table for 7 bucks in your name. And make sure it's an early dinner. Because we want to be sure na makakapag-majow na tayo before we call it a night. Good night and sweet dreams, dear friend. We will miss you.
So, speaking of matapang, kasi matapang daw si Rafael. May faculty kami sa IS department na matapang. He's a really swimming. And natatakot ako sa kanya noon. Sabi ko, Rafael, natatakot ako really. Doon sa freshman, nagalit siya doon sa consent to publish form na predatory daw yung facing. And he pretended he will not publish. He will withdraw his form. Tapos, like, Sir Rudy, kailangan po ko talaga. He defended, not just defended the person, but also the position. And what I had to do there was to gather all the evidence and raise the point that this is not fair to artists. And it became an advocacy because someone did the right thing to speak up. And that's both Brady and Rafael. Kaya mas tama ang matapang. And then, gathering everybody, we brought it up to the right offices and became a collective voice. So, the next speaker is Sir Ray Smith. And not only is he a friend of many years, having Sir Rudy Agdo, hindi siya makata. So this is the sign where we now hear from someone whose relationship with Rafael is through that link through their craft and through their art. And it is a kind of friendship that is unique on its own. But Brady won't just come here to speak as Brady. He is also bringing with him the voice of Edwin Casas, who was also part of the G7. Yung the firm, yan ang nanggaling yun. G7 as a newcomer from Ateneo, nasan po kasi ako. Pero si Rafael po, ano mga storya ng Ateneo, nagpakilala siya, member siya ng government. Hindi ka lang confirm ko yun. Ngayon, high five na lang po ang G7. Kasi wala. So I'd like to call on Sir Ray Sumino, who I just gave a big hug to kanina. Hindi na ako takot sa Ray. Sorry. Rafael already demystified me. He told them, he spoke of you so beautifully that I cannot unsee your beauty, no matter how much you try to act. Scary. May I introduce Ray Smith?
Tatanggap ko lang sa email kung tula na pinadala ni Edwin Casas. Para malaman nyo, kapag siya yung pangatlong kapunsyara na sa pagtanghal ng higit sa isang dekada ng poetry reading ng mga estudyante sa Ateneo. Every year, every year. So, pag-assign ko na yung tula ni Edwin. Dito sa tabi ng lawa ng Samparo, umahalakak ng mga paru-paro, walang pasibali ang kanilang tuwa. walang pagbabakasakali. Naririnig ko ba, kaibigan? Sa iyong mga unang hakbang patungo sa kabilimang iyak ang liwanag, makisali rin sa indayo ng mga pagbabago. Walang tupas, walang asawa, dito sa tabi ng lawa ng sama. Tapos bago po, ito dahil kay Nancy, yung iniisip ko yung kung ano susulat ko. Gusto ko lang magpasa ng tula. Sinabi niya, ikwento mo naman yung pamintasan mo ni Boy. So medyo mahaba yung masakali ko. Tapos natatapos ko sa tula. Our friendship, Rofel's and mine, began and was sustained by our love for writing poetry. We were both newish teachers when we attended a pop-up 2-day workshop under the famous Linda E. Casper, who was visiting from abroad. By the end of these 2 days of sharing our work, we had both overcome our shyness and started talking to each other as if we were old friends. As teachers and writers, there was always lots to talk about. There was always admin to complain about. But we were lucky to have both had the great aspholic terrors like Eric Torres, Rolando Tino, and Father Roque Ferrios. At that time, there was a great translation vision of Father Nevers. It was all in the air. The Filipino department was new and brash, and its teachers thought nothing of acting alongside students in the Brechtian and absurdist plays performed at the cafeteria that would transform itself at night into what we like to call cafe theater. Eventually, following the D. Casper workshop, we wound up sharing with each other what we were writing at the moment. Rofel, always the charming impresario, also managed to rope in Benny Santos, who then we knew as the brave Tagalog-speaking Assumpcionista who refused to shake the hand of President Marcos. So we all had a question. We would pop into each other's apartment, catch each other's eyes, and say, "Uy, may bagong tula ako. Gusto mo basahin?" We would then make time between preparing class lectures, checking essays in bad penmanship, and advising students looking for the true meaning of life, to sit down together to read and listen to what we couldn't keep inside us any longer. When the weather was good, we met out in the open, preferably on the cool benches or the quadrangle. The leaves of the golden shower and Caimito trees that once flanked Costa Hall would fall into our shoulder bags. Otherwise, we would meet in the congested crossing of the main corridor at the end of Birchman's, shout greetings at each other, and duck into the nearest empty classroom. We didn't like asking for permission. Our points were typed on the backs of old exams, or written down on notebooks, or sometimes on folded size 1 sheets, which we kept in our pockets. Nothing was more delicious than the short silences that happened while we read each other's story. And then the talking began. Gusto mo bang bigkasin yan? Baka kasi mali ang pagbasa ko. Or, ay, ang ganda, ano maisip yan? I remember once, way before the best-selling sex therapist Margarita Holmes brought it up, we discussed why sex and body parts seem to sound dirtier in Filipino. And soon, we were all trying out erotica in the mother tongue. This, by the way, was where Benny first read her poem describing her orgasm as isang kupitang nababasa. And you should have seen the sparkle of admiration in Rofel's eyes. We call this guerrilla moments or pamintasan. Pamimintas sa pamantasan. And we honed our craft and sharpened our friendship here when we weren't otherwise alone by ourselves, practicing our sullen art in the still night when only the moon rages and the lovers lie abed with all their griefs in their hands. His love for what the lyricist Harlan called words fitly spoken found another expression, the Humanities Club Poetry Readings. Inspired by a faculty poetry reading organized by Rolando Tino and starring himself, of course, I wondered why there couldn't be more readings like this, but by students. Together with Edward Alasanz First, who was then moderator of the Philo Club, we organized a reading of our own and were surprised by how many students there were who were brave and foolish enough to read their poems, shaking voices and all in public. And they came not from humanities departments, but from all over the place. Like our pamintasan, when no official venues were available, we would read wherever there were benches and shade and a light bright enough to read our poems. When I finally left teaching to try life outside the school, it was Rofel who took over the work of impresario. I still remember how proud he was when during one of my visits back to school, he said, "O ayan, lady ha, 10 taon walang palya, nag-poetry reading kami every sem." So this is how it was between Boy and me. No matter how many years passed, we always had, if not Paris, poetry. Our last work together was on the collected poems of Pete Lahara, Kapi. My original idea was to do a fresh riff of poems for Pete and Ateneo dropout. Unfortunately, the irony was too much for the board of the University Press as a dropout, and a fresh riff is an academic tribute. And it was Karina Colasco who decided to do a complete collected poems of Pete instead. Boyet and I were co-editors and had begun talking to the Nakabas about rights and permissions. But one day, I received email from him saying he would have to withdraw because he was taken sick. The project floundered after that, and it took more than a year before I got over the loss of my co-editor. The book is now basically done though, and awaits printing by the press. As for his own books, which you see on display there, whenever Boyet had a poetry collection in the works, he would tell me about it, ask me to read the PDF, or write a short something for the book. I remember mentioning to him, after he posted some of his works in Facebook, how as he got older, his own poems became simpler, more direct, and aspired to the condition not of craft, but of prayer. He liked it when I told him that. And it was because of that conversation that I wrote this poem for him for his birthday. It is about seeing beauty for the first time, not by an academic or a teacher or a critic, but by a caveman. And here is the poem. The poetry of simple words. Hang the metaphor and the wit, the irony and conceit, the wicked turn of phrase designed so critics miss meaning and intent, the confected insight, the self-reflecting reflection, the extrovert introspection. Sometimes I wonder long for, want to be that first group, stumbling away, still sticky with sleep, hair matted with twigs, eyes unaware of what is about to happen, about to see for the first time flower. Not a spoon, nor floor, nor a mark of where to turn or where to stop, but simply yellow. Petal, open, simply happiness of eye. The sun behind it, yellowing still, the streaks of blue, the mind opening to the meaningless sky. Salamat po.
Let us marinate in the beauty of that imagery that Randy left us with his words. And I will call the next tribute, which will be in the form of music. The performance is by Jay Gomez, who during the during the launch of Sunday in Casa San Pablo a few years ago, he also performed for that event. And so when we were thinking of tonight, he said, "You can perform." So when he was asked, he said, "Yes, thank you very much." We call on Jay Gomez.
Maganda po. Making kwento lang nung birthday ko sa nung 2008 ata kasi binati ko siya, sabi niya, ako na unahan kong bumati si Boys sa Akihan. Yes, unahan ko sa bumati. Nasa ka ba? Dito ako sa Palangka, sa Condense Makati. Bumaba ka na dito ako sa Legazpi. Magkapit tayo dun sa convenience store sa Makati. Pagbaba niya, typical of them, kasando, hindi Kita ko siya, yung post ko nakapag sa kanya yung sa mga wife ko, si Ruby. Dinalit ko siya Tagaytay. Maginaw. It was a prank, no, na hindi ko rin naisip ko lang ang spot niya. Sabi ko, akong bahala sa'yo. So, nagigiraw namin akong bahala sa'yo. And through the years, he took it seriously. He would always tell me, akong bahala sa'yo. Ako hindi dito ng family, sa pagka akong bahala sa'yo. Kung lunch tayo, akong bahala sa'yo. And hindi lang yung pagkain, yung bitiran, naging hilayan namin sa pamilya ko. Sawa lang ko na inanakay. Yung pagkakaroon ko yung nalilig ko po sa sila. Akong bahala sa inyo. So, ganun yung pagkakaibigin namin ko yung plano. Hindi talaga niya tinutok din. Isang beses sinaglayin din niya ako. Sabi ko, Prophet, dahil na ito na may Father Nenny, yung best first aid. Kasi gusto na lang ko kanta. Doon, first time learning sa mga wala ako sa buhay mo. Pero yung message sa Father Nenny, Father Nenny ka ready. Siguro, pero ko, may suspensa ako, nag-iblehan niya. So, ako si Ruth Philip. So, maraming salamat. Yung pagkakaibigan ko, wala ka plano sa business of improvisation, hindi ko rin pagplanuhan. Tututod lang ako.
very much. When you said earlier how, Rafael's work turned more like prayer, and I think listening to Jay also sounded sublime. And so, we turn still art, still poetry, from yet another long-time friend. Rafael worked with a lot of people who never kind of exited after the task was gone, because that's what happens when it's friendship. It's just with a function and then it's really friendship. He worked on People Power, he worked with Dan, they were junior editors at the time, and Rudy already mentioned Athenians, inspiring Athenians to build a lot of the cost, and he was working with that, not just with Rudy, but also with Nancy Pellerino. I'm calling you next. And so Nancy will also come, and let's return from music to the power of words. Nancy, let us hear yours.
Paminsan-minsan nagsasabi ng mga tula at sinasabi ng mga pero na ginagawa ko ito dahil sa dalawang bagay. Una, nagagandaan ako sa tula. Pangalawa, hindi ko gaano maintindihan. Inaasahan ko na sa pagsubukan kong isali ito mas naiintindihan ko. At nangyayari naman, minsan, pero minsan hindi pa rin. Itong babasahin ko ay hindi ko na ipakita kay Rafael dahil medyo bagong gawa. Hindi ko alam kung magugustuhan niya, pero sa palagay ko ay magugustuhan niya dahil siya hindi ko mahilig na ilaw, diba? At minsan din po. Walang dalang ilhawa ang panahon. Kayong lahat ay nagsinungaling, kayong nagsabi na maiusan ang panahon ng aking sakit. Hinahanap ko siya sa pagtangis ng ulan. Inaasam ko siya sa pagpurong ng araw. Natutunaw ang matatandang yebe mula sa bawat gilid ng bundok. At ang mga dahon ng nakalipas na taon ay usok sa bawat nansana na iyon. Ngunit ang mapait na pagmamahalan ng nakalipas na taon ay dapat na nagiging naiikon sa puso ko. At ang mga dating iniisip ay namamalaan. Daang-daang lugar ang pinatatakutan kong puntahan, lipos sa mga alaala niya. At sa pagpasok ko, maluwag ang bibig sa isang lugar na kahit kung saan niminsay hindi tumapak ang kanyang mga paa o sumilan ang kanyang mukha. Sinabi ko, wala siyang alaala dito. At tigagal na nakatayo, inaalala siya.
Nancy also furnished us with a lot of photos outside. We now have a generation shift from the peers and colleagues and friends of Rafael. We moved to people he mentored and people he sheltered, people he nurtured and nurtured. We started with someone he was very proud of. The person behind emailing niya, and alam natin ang politics ni Rafael is pintawan mo siya. So, proud na proud siya sa next speaker kasi gusto siyang politics ng tao. May IP's call, I don't know what I refer to you. I would like to call Alice Sangalang and
Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. Ako po si Ali Sangalang. Sa mga nakakapansin po sa madalas na soaking statement si Sir Rafael, ako po yung may baka namin. Oo nga daw po. Nagayang po. Yun po yung brand na DVD niya. Gusto ko pong sabihin, walang linya-linya at hindi po ako mapupunta sa linya ng creative writing, kundi po dahil kay Dr. Bill. 2005, pumasok po ako ng Loyola Schools ng naliligaw. Tamang-tama para naman daw sa mga hindi alam ang gagawin sa buhay ang kursong napasukan ko bilang estudyanteng grade listed, Interdisciplinary Studies o IS. Marami pong hindi nakakaintindi sa kurso namin na pagkakamalang International Studies. Bagsakan daw ng mga gusto ng pumasa at mga graduate. Una, ang lingkong medyo naniwala po ako doon. Pero nung nakilala ko si Sir Rofel, may bago po ito. Unti-unti kong naunawaan ang talaga ng pagiging multidisciplinary at kung paano nagtatahi ang iba't ibang disiplina para mapag-isa. Nung naging teacher, advisor at mentor ko po siya, doon ako nagsimulang magka-direksyon at magkakumpiyansa sa sarili. Sigurado na akong communication ng isang track na kukunin ko sa IS. Pero di ako sigurado din sa pangalawa. Muntik na akong mag-information design o IT para sana pag tinanong ako ng mga kaibigan ko kung anong tracks ko, ang isang sagot ko ay kong ID for cognitive. Anyway, muntik po akong matukan ni Sir Rofel naman. Pero bilang advisor, hindi kaya niya akong subukin ng creative writing. Siya ang nagpakilala sa akin sa lakas, sa ganda at sa liwagan ng mga salita. Kahit na takot ako nung simula, tinuruan niya akong magbasa at magsulat ng mga tula. Pinahiram niya ako ng mga libro, nagrekomenda ng mga babasahin tulad ni na Vita Caba, Pinilda Santos, Tony Perez, Yola Mindang. Pinasa ko rin siyempre ang mga akta ng Sir Rofel. Pinasok niya ako sa isa kanyang mga klase. Yung course ng ABIS in AD Prion. Teacher ko siya sa grade books, sa poetry workshop, siya rin ang aking thesis advisor. Ang saya kasi ng BFFs ko sina Ate Aki at si Ate Shelly ng IS Department. Si Sir Rofel ang unang nakabasa ng mga linya ko. Siya rin ang unang nagtiwala. Tulad ng mga tula ni Sir Rofel na tumalong lambingin ng mga letra. Sipatin ang mga saglit, magsulat ng kahit may iklit, may lawak at dalim. Simple pero may talat at may mga sinasabi. Mga sandaling marahil, hindi na natin mamalayan, pero narin, buhay na buhay. Hindi man nagtuloy-tuloy ang magtutula ko, natuloy naman ang pagsusulat ko. Lumabas ako ng Ateneo ng taas no at kahit pa paano may direksyon. 2010, mapalad po akong nakapasok sa Malacanang. Proud na proud si Sir Rofel na mag-isa po ako sa speech artist ni Pinoy. May mga talumpati akong pinababasa sa kanya. Lagi siyang nakahandang magbasa sa mga at magbigay ng payo sa mga pinapadala ko. Magaling makinig si Sir Rofel, kaya talagang pakikinggan ko rin siya. Nang simulan ko ang linya-linya, isa siya sa mga unang sumuporta. Naging #1 fan siya. Dadaan siya sa City Town Center branch namin para ipag-shopping ng mga pamangkin at pamilya niya. Hindi niya nakakalimutan, humingi ng discount. May sarili siyang koleksyon. Suot niya sa Zoom meeting, suot niya kapag may talk o event, suot niya nung minsan tumahan ng campus si Bibilia Robredo, suot niya sa rally. Malamang suot niya rin magkabalik na dito sa San Pablo. Para siyang proud na tatay sa achievements ng mga anak niya. Nang makilala ko si Rach, agad ko siyang ipinakilala kay Sir Rofel. Excited ako makita niyang natuto na ako sa larangan ng pag-ibig. Nakita-kita kami sa Greenbelt kasama ang isa pa sa mga anak niya, si Sir Yola Mindang. Tuwang-tuwa siyang makita nasa ayos ang labi ng puso ko. Kailangan ko na susubaybayan ni Sir. Kaya last year, bago kami ikilasang ni Rach, inimbitahan kong maging ninong si Sir Rofel. Hindi man siya nakapunta dahil sa pagpapagaling niya, tinanggap niya pa rin ang papel na maging gabay at maging bahagi ng buhay namin ni Rach. Alam niyo lahat ito, nandiyan lagi si Sir Rofel para sa mga mahal niya sa buhay. Nandito naman tayo para sa kanya ngayon. At gaya ninyo, isang malaking biyaya sa akin ang mayakap ang pagmamahal ni Sir Rofel. Kaya kay Sir Rofel, na naging gabay ko, hindi lang sa course at career, kundi maging sa bawat sa life. Maraming salamat po. Mahal ka namin at mamimiss ka namin. Sana rin po yung koleksyon ng dedications dyan sa namin. atin. Babasahin ko po ang isang tula mula sa kanyang librong Sandali. Narito, ni Rafael G. Green. Sa pagitan ng bawat tibok ng aking puso, sa pagitan ng bawat hugot ng aking hininga, narito ka pa rin, nananalig ako at napapanagap.
Thank you very much. May tanong po tayong sunod na tatawagin ng mga kabataan. Isa-isa. Isa-isa na ito. Hindi na daw po yata sila bata, pero sa mga bilang sa ganito, Fel, na binigyan ng pangalan, binigyan ng mga bahay na binigyan niya. Agahan ang tawag natin sa bahay sa San Pablo at Macondo ang tawag sa bahay sa kondo niya sa Palacas sa Quezon. At ang Macondo po ay makulay ang kasaysayan. At isa po nakakaalam na inside na dito, tatawagin ko siya isa una po ay si Daniel Benito na adopted son, spiritual son. Please.
Isang mapayamang gabi po sa ating lahat. Nung una yung meeting kami, tinanong ni guys, kayo pa kayo magsalita, Josh, alam mo yung nakakilap sa akin. Kasi di pala kung kaya ko na magkwento kung pagkilo, pero nalaman tayo. Taong 2019, plano ko pong umalis mula sa Bangko Central Pilipinas at umalis sa Ateneo at magturo at gawin ang aking first love. Nung panahon na inisip ko, makakamaganda ko sa akin si Emma Battery kasi bilang galing siya sa gobyerno, hindi ng words of wisdom, ganyan. At sabi ni Ken Game, magkita tayo sa Macondo at papakilala kita kay Lilo. Sabi ko, ano Macondo at sino? Yung totoo, hindi naman yung unang beses na kakilala kami ni Lilo. Una kami nakita ko ng graduation ko, nabibitahan po ako sa graduation dinner kasama mga faculty. At sumama siya dun sa lamesa namin, kasama mga guro ko ng mga department. At yung nakakakuha ko, noong 2019, nagkita kami sa Macondo. Alam namin na naging FB friends kami. Pero nung sinekolet namin, ilan-friend na ako sa ni Globo. Kasi after graduation, hindi na kami nakapag-usap. So, may connection yung nangyari sa amin sa Macondo po. Pero simulan ko rin yun sa Macondo. Nagsimula yung mas malalim namin pagkakaibigan. Sa mga ako ni Lobo, siguro ako po yung pinakamarupok pagdating sa pag-ibig. Lover boy yung tawag sa akin ng mga unang taong magkakasama. Kung si Ali ay magaganda, sweet na kwento siguro, ako po ay yung pabalikan. Nagsimula naman ko yung pagsasama namin lover pandemic dahil sa mga Zoom calls. Inibitahan niya ako mag-repeat in daily life. Siya po yung naging spiritual, kaya po spiritual guide, siya po yung naging repeat guide ko. At yung prinsesa nga po namin ay yung aking grupo para na nag-gusto ko kasi ako at hindi pinili ng tamang gustuhan ko. Pero hindi ko makakalimutan yung unang session namin na iba yung pinili Lobo, hindi dahil nagtawan niya yung tatamahan ko sa pag-ibig. Pero sabi niya, masaya siya makilala ako mas malalim. Isang bagay siguro na natutunan ko kay Lobo ay makita ang biyaya sa kita ng sakit at paghihirap. Nung kinukwento yung partner na kasi niya kahit pandemic, nakwento din na ni Lobo sa mga Zoom calls namin kung gano'n siya kasi sa buhay at meron siya ng panahon na ito. At makakilala at maraming makausap ng mga kaibigan at communities. Kaya yung mabasahin ko po ay mula sa kanyang libro ng Sakit at Alaala. Ang pamagat po ay Kalina na nagpapakita kung gaano magaling na sila po sa kanyang mga estudyante. Siguro sa kwento natin, isang mahirap na tagpo ng buhay ko pa noong 2022 dahil namatay ko yung aking lola. Bukod doon, may nangyari pa sa bahay. So, sobrang bigat masok na ako ng bahay para huminga. Tapos natagtag ako sa MOA, biglang isip ko message yung Lobo, pwede bang pumunta sa mga komponent. At wala ko naman sabi niya, nandito ako, hand ka. At sa tulong doon, lumaki na loob ko. Kaya po siguro ito yung piling kong sabi sa'yo ko ito kasi maraming punto ng buhay ko na mabigat at may
Pero yung kalinga ni Lobo, yung isa sa malakas, nabigay sa akin para matuloy. Tagawag nila kasi gusto isa yung siya tungkol sa puso. May nagpatiwala na mga estudyante sa akin ng presidente. Kung kailan lang may nagpatiwala sa isang silid pa dito. Kaya kahapon, sisimula ng muna kong klase, sinabi ko sa mga mag-araw ko na kung may anumang gumagambala sa kanila, o kung may kaibigan silang sa pakiramdam nila ay nagagambala ng kung naman, tandaan nila may mga nakataligid sa kanilang handang makinig at dumami. Pamilya, kaibigan, guro. Sabi ko pa ngay, mukha man ako mahigpit at masungit, marunong din naman ako makinig. Handa ako makinig. Samantalang sinasabi ko ito, napansin ko nanginig ang luha ng isa sa kanila. Hindi ko naman siya matanong sa harap ng lahat. At hindi ako magkataong kung saan siya. Dahil nasusulat sila hanggang matapos ang klase. Bukas, papasok ako ng maaga kung makakamusta siya. Dahil nakapagpagbuhan naman na kami dati bago mag-klase. Itong nakaraang buwan, natulasan ko may malalim na problema ang isang dami akong estudyante. Sinadya akong magsinta kami upang makapagbuhan siya. Maganda na naging usapan namin at ngayon nga higit na siyang kanatan. Natututo na siya, muli naging masaya. Nagkikita pa rin kami paminsan-minsan at nagagalak ako kahit pa paano nakakatulong ako sa kanya. Kanina naman dumalaw ang isang estudyante, lagi madalas magkwento sa akin. Ngunit lang din ko ay hindi nagpakita. May problema para siya. At ngayon nagkukonsulta na siya sa doktor at hindi mo namang gamot para dito, ay nagkwento na siya sa akin. Mas mabuti na raw palagay niya ngayon. Sa dali nga lang kami nag-usap dahil sunod-sunod ang dating ng mga estudyante kumukonsulta sa akin tungkol sa kanyang proyekto. Sabi ko na lamang sa kanya, bumalik siya, kailangan ng ibig. Nung nakatayin ko si Lobo sa mas bali ako para sa isang community research namin. Tapos, bilang pagkatapos ng research namin sa mas bali, pumunta ko sa London, isa siyang Sanford. Sakto, sunset pag-ibok ng araw. Yung mga nakakagwan ko ay mabigat din para sa akin dahil labi ko na naman sa pag-ibig. Nagkaroon ng mga panibagong at malalim na hamon tungkol sa mga organisasyon at trabaho ng tinibigyan. Nahirapan akong proseso yung mga bagay nito. Pero nung sa dalit yun, that sunset, gave me a different kind of comfort. Hinagabihan yung message ni Ken sa akin na wala na si Lobo. Nung after ko mag-read out of the room, nung mas limas na sana ako, naisip ko na baka nung sa dalit yun, nandun si Lobo. Pinapaalala sa akin na nagiging okay din muna at hindi na ako iiwan. Kaya siguro wala ngayon, lagi ko na maalala si Lobo sa sunset. Madalas may lungkot na natin ang paglubog ng araw sa atin dahil kadalas ng katapusan at pagharap sa dilim. Pero sa matapos ito, siguro mahabang gabi ang ating harapin dahil sa aking pag-isay. Pero sana sa gitna ng labing ng gabi, maalala natin yung init ng kalinga ni Lobo na laging mananapin. Yung init ng kalinga niya na mabibigay sa atin ng lakas para magpatuloy. Alam Lobo, mahal ka sa akin.
Yung kumuha yung tatlo natin na speaker, siyempre po yung first home niya na San Pablo at he always has his family there. At yung second home niya, in Makati and in San Pablo is Casa San Pablo and our last three speakers, so people who got live with him in second homes. So I would like to call on, tatawag po ako kasi yung third to the last speaker, Professor Prodigal Son. Pero yung next speaker, ako ni Lobo, parang hindi sila magka-generation. So, I'd like to call Professor Prodigal Son, Josh William.
Thank you. Drama ko lang po yung Prodigal Son. Good evening po. Blessed evening po sa ating lahat. I knew Rafael almost, I like to joke, here in my age group, the Macondo generation, Rafael was not actually my teacher in school, but he became my teacher and mentor in ways that went far beyond my college education. He was my friend. We met through the 8-day silent retreat that some graduating college students like to do. And he wasn't my retreat guide, but he had somehow gotten wind that I like to write. So he said, let's have coffee. I generally don't like new people in my life, so I politely said, sure, with plans to never actually follow up. Weeks passed, I graduated, and no coffee took place because I refused to touch his phone number. But since the campus is so small, it really wasn't long before we ran into each other again in person. And familiar now with all of my tricks, Rafael found a way to make the coffee just happen after that. And today I'm so grateful. While wallowing in my grief this week, I had the strange experience of reading through the many online dedications to Rafael that people were writing on Facebook. In my day job as a researcher, I like to look at the language that people use. So I could not help but count the recurring words and phrases people use to describe the relationship with Rafael. There was refuge, there was attention, there was food, and there was love. You'll probably notice, I don't call Rafael Lobo. On the one hand, I think this is because I never really saw him as a grandfather Lolo type. But really, in the arrogance of my 20s, I never really thought of our relationship as one that had that grandfatherly shape. We liked to make fun of each other's poetry. We laughed at each other's life decisions. And we complained to each other about all the people we knew in common and everybody else too. But on the other hand, I call him Rafael because it's what he asked me to call him. I remember how at 21, I was walking with him down some random street and carelessly exclaimed, "Wow, you're 3 times my age." For the mathematically inclined among you, you'll notice that means a 42-year age difference between friends. Yet he reached past those 42 years of life and asked that we call each other by name and see each other eye to eye. Now, a decade later, I'm still very usefully arrogant and quite unwise, but I'm wise enough now to know that our language of equality and friendship was never mutually exclusive from his lowly care. He just understood that I was the kind of immature that needed to be treated maturely, that had so much still to learn, and yet he let me feel like I had everything already figured out. For all my tricks, Rafael was the trickier one. So Rafael, thank you for the refuge. Thank you for the attention. Thank you for all the food we ate too much of. And thank you for the love and friendship in abundance that today I can't help but call not enough. But I know that it is, and it will be. Thank you for being my logo in everything but me. A few years back, close to the last time I saw him, I wrote a poem to Rafael that I had finally written after so many years of telling me, "You enjoy the sound of language too much. Write an image instead." When it was written, true to my ways, it wasn't even me, it wasn't even I that shared it with him. It was another friend of his who happened upon the poems published online. In a somewhat cruel and poetic twist, Rafael sent me my own poem that I had written for him. I told him, "You know it's for you." He replied, "Alam ko." If you'll indulge me, you don't really have a choice. I'd like to read now that poem that I wrote, actually crying because I knew I had just written his eulogy. I'm glad that he was able to read it, as I know he can hear it now. And also, sorry, this wasn't part of the program, but I'd also like to read a second poem written this week as its sequel. So this one hasn't heard yet. So. The first poem is called "Before You Go." And the second is called Upon the Poem's Arrival. So before you go, I have a poet friend who never asks for me to write him a poem. Even if he's read every verse I send him, looks up the references to mythology I keep littering into the metaphors. He holds my hand through the messes of heartbreak, all the unmoving desires they mystify and obscure as they clamber onto the page, as they clamber into life like the bodies of believers being resurrected at the end of time. At the end of his life, I wonder if he knows what he never asks he has already been living. Look at the light streaming in from the canopy. Our days together we never wrote, perhaps knowing even the myths must envy the miracles they are trying to tell. Can you tell in this warm afternoon, as we pace through the heart of the old city, searching the Sunday market for stews and spiced meats we will assemble into a feast in the quiet room, what immortality is glazing our bodies with a gentle sheen not even a poem can begin to keep alive. And then the second poem, extending beyond the 5 minutes. Upon the poem's arrival. Unbidden sunlight through imperfect blinds, or the delivery of news in the night by a ghost's hand upon the shoulder. Some years pass so slow they seem quick in memory. Repeated streets and misremembered lights punctuate the differences of foreground and background. Old house in the old town, old clothes left behind at a friend's dresser. My friend, you would hate these lines which appear to refuse clarity by saying too much, too in love with their own sound to admit meaning. Feeling for me was first, I told you. Well, whose feelings? Whose telling gets to make the poem real? Even now, I delay your arrival as image so I can keep you as voice. Maybe you wouldn't hate to be the poem, but you were always so happy to be the telling and the told too. Thank you.
The next person I will call is Ken Abante. And I will read very quickly the line I wrote in my preface to the Festival of Health when I introduced Ken's poem. Ken Abante submitted 2 poems, the first of which, Nag-aayak si Lobo, vividly captures Rafael's everyday world, reminding us that he is actually in San Pablo, and we are all actually elsewhere in our own homes. Dito ngayon is the fine title for the issue. Where is dito? Where is ngayon? The pandemic has created uncommon meanings for such common words. All I know is na dito ako ngayon sa Ateneo Taguig. I remember being a newly minted PhD with a newborn baby, lost and unemployed some 10 years ago. Urged by Pino, I ran to Orwell of the Department of Interdisciplinary Studies, and Jonathan Chua opened the door. But it was Rafael who held me by the hand, gave me a tour of the house, and told me, "You can stay here. This will be your home now." Just like the mother in Ken Abante's second poem, na makita ni inay ang aking mga sukat. Rafael too seemed to tell me, "Halika anak." And borrowing Ken's words, para din ako sinanubong ng yapos at nagsimulang mapawi ang takot ko sa dilim. So Rafael, maraming salamat. Now, I call Ken Abante to lead us this morning.
Magandang gabi po. Ako po si Ken Abante, isa sa mga apo ni Lolo Boyet. Nagsimula po kami maging magkaibigan noong 2016. Inaya niya po akong magturo sa Interdisciplinary Studies Department at naging member ko siya sa pagbubuo ng Martial Museum noong 2017. Isa po ako sa maraming borders ng Macondo na naging tahanan namin sa Makati mula noong taon na yun hanggang 2023. Kasama ko po si Lobo sa mga pinakamahalagang yugto ng buhay ko. Sa ligaya man o paglungsa, pag-ibig man o heartbreak, sa unang araw ng pagtuturo, sa despedida ko papuntang grad school, sa pagpunta at pagsundo papunta ng airport, sa pag-welcome back sa Pilipinas, sa Zoom call sa pagkailangan ng kausap, sa kampanya para kay Lenny at Pico dahil naging storage room ng campaign materials sa Macondo. Sa kanya ko unang pinapakasa ang malala akong kutulan. Magkasama po kami sa mga silent retreat at misa. Magkasama kumain sa Sunday market, minom, magkape, magsaa, magkitara, kumanta, magbasa ng mga tula at nobela, nanood ng pelikula at gula. Magkasama i-celebrate ang mga 1-month-long birthday celebrations niya. Bumiyay siya sa Naga para sa 60th birthday ng nanay ko para sorpresahin siya. Ninong siya ng kapatid ko sa kasal. Kasama ko rin po si Lobo nung nagsimula siya pagkasakit. Nag-iisa ako sa mga bantay niya sa ospital. Kinantahan namin siya ni Sister Bubbles ng Salve Regina bago siya operahan sa prostate. Kasama niya na Boots at Ann at Nancy nung nagre-recover. Binisita namin siya ng Macondo Friends sa San Pablo para i-celebrate ang birthday niya sa casa sa San Pablo. Magiging ninong ko rin po sana siya sa kasal ko next week. Nung lumabas po siya sa hospital last week, niluwan ko pa siya doon po, isama pa rin namin sa listahan ng mga ninong at ngumiti po siya at tumaho. Isunod ko sa kanya ang rosary bracelet na blessed ng mga estudyante niya ng Espita na ako-ordained lang bilang mga pare. Yun na pala yung namin pagkikita. Pero puno ba yan ng pagmamahal? May isang gabi po, bago ang pandemic, nag-iinuman kami ni Lobo kasama ng aming mga kaibigan sa mga kondo. As usual, nagkitara kami, kumanta, nagbasa ng mga tula. Ang dami po namin na pag-usapan tungkol sa buhay at bayan. At kung lasing na kami, sabi niya sa akin, mahal na mahal ko kayo. This is what I live for. This is what I live for. Punong-puno po ako ng pasasalamat sa buhay ni Lobo na nag-uumapaw ng pagmamahal at yak po ako na ngayong naririnig niya tayo sa langit. Sasabihin niya, this is truly what I live for. Mahal na mahal kita, Lobo, at sobrang mamimiss kita. May dalawang tula po akong isinulat para sa Chef ni Lobo na dito ngayon, na special issue ng Perspectives in the Arts and Humanities Asia na pinaupo ni Vicky. Bahagi po ng libro ang sinulat namin bilang pasasalamat sa kanya sa Ateneo de Manila. At alam ko po, na kahit na busy kami noon, grabe nangyayari ng pandemic, we knew we had to make it for Lobo. Tumawag po siya sa akin pagkatapos ng festive lunch. Tuwang-tuwa. Sabi niya sa akin, parang funeral ko na yun. At nagbigay kayo ng napakagandang eulogy. Sana po sa ating mga buhay, nasasabi natin yung mga salita na mga gusto natin sabihin sa ating mga mahal sa buhay, tulad ng ginawa natin kay Lobo. At nasiya siya at sabi natin ang lahat nito nung buhay pa siya. Ulan-ulan. Nag-aaya si Lobo. Halina sa San Pablo at kumain tayo ng adobo, sinangag at manggang-ako. Makinig sa mga awit ni Celeste sa radyo, sa binaok ng tandang, sa takol ng mga aso. Halina sa San Pablo at magpahinga tayo. Tsaka, umiga sa tumba-tumba, magbasa ng mga tula na Santos at Lacaba, manood ng mga pelikula ng Bernal at Arellano. Halina sa San Pablo at umilas tayo ng sampalo, kamyas, kalamansi o bayabas, may sinigang na bangus, meron din pakimagas, kape, espasol, urarong at pastillas. Halina sa San Pablo at magkwentuhan tayo, mag-iyakan, mag-inuman, maghalakakan, maglakad sa may pitong lawa, magdasal sa simbahan, halina't tumahan dito sa ating tahanan. Kaibigan, paglalaanan kita ng panahon. Ito ang tawag sa akin ng Panginoon. Huling tula ko, nang makita ni Inay ang aking mga sugat. Isang gabi, pinabili ako ni Inay ng itlog para sa aming hapunan. At kahit ako sa dilim, kumalipas ako pauwi na dapat. Nabasag ang mga itlog sa supot. Wala akong mukha na maiharap kay Inay. Magugutom ang minamahal ko dahil natakot ako sa dilim. Ngunit, sinalubong ako ni Inay, hindi ng palo, kundi ng yapos. Halika anak, hugasan natin ang iyong mga sugat. Halika anak, pulutin natin ang supot. Hindi kailangan estrelyado ang itlog, gumawa tayo ng tonta, gumawa tayo ng sopas, gumawa tayo ng paraan para maibsam ang gutom. At sa gabing iyon, nabusog ako. Nagsimulang mapawi ang aking takot sa dilim. Diyos madalas sa Panginoon.
And now to close the night. Rafael's second home passes San Pablo. And there is a chiefless mourner among those outside his family. In the family that he was born into, the family he made. I think that chiefless mourner privilege, prestige, goes to. And that prestige pa rin. Oh, prestige. Sa dami ng nagmamahal kay Rafael. That is an honor. Let's close the night with your words.
Over the last almost 3 years, Rafael faced a number of health challenges. I was one of the few people who had a front seat to that journey, along with Boots, my husband, Ken, si Jay, si Kojo, si Ian. So I knew that he had what he himself called white coat syndrome. Takot siya sa doktor. Takot siyang magpagamot. Takot siyang malaman kung ano man yung tawag sa nararamdaman niya. Kapag hinatid ko siya sa check-up o kapag naghihintay kami sa clinic, nangangatal siya. Di ba yan? Nanginginig siya. Minsan nanginginig pa ang boses niya at hindi mapakali. Minsan, tinanong ko siya, Rafael, bakit ka ba ganyan? Noon niya ikinento si Lola Golly. Nung bata pa siya, sabi niya, nagkasakit ang lola niya. Naliit pa siya noon ang tinanong. Naliit pa talaga siya. Nagkasakit ang lola nila. At dahil mahirap alagaan na, nilagay nila ang kama ng lola nila sa gitna ng kanilang sala. At naging yun na ang big presence. Naging malaking presensya si Lola Golly sa kanyang nuwang edad. Ang higaan, ang mga gamot, ang mga nag-aalaga, at yung attention sa bahay. At pagkatapos, nasanay na siya na nangyari siya, nasanay na rin siya na pagka may nararamdaman siguro ay kailangan dahan-dahan ng lakad. At pagkatapos isang araw, biglang wala na si Lola. Nakita ng kama ni Lola sa gitna ng sala. Sabi na sa akin, siguro, akala ko, gano'n ang nangyayari kapag pumunta sa ospital.
hindi ka na bumabalik. Kaya, siguro ganun na lang siya, hindi nagpapalamon. O kaya, ayaw mo pa. But last Monday was different. He called me at 2 o'clock, malakas ang boses, and he asked me to take him to the hospital. Kailanman, hindi ko yun narinig sa kanya. Pagdating sa ospital, sinabi mo, "Panaka ba si Doc Joel?" Nakahanap ng doktor ang takot sa doktor. At sinabi niya dun sa emergency doctor na kung ano-ano pang tinatanong. Alam niya naman yun kung anong tinatanong. Sinabi niya, kailangan mo magpa-admit. I-admit ko na ako. There was an urgency that I had never heard before. And over the last few days, I have told the story of what happened in the next 2 hours over and over again. So I will not go through that this time because I might not be able to put myself together. But I will tell you this. Rafael had a seizure. And shortly before that, he called me. He called me first. I had already come home. He was in his room. He called me and he said, "Ganda ka ng boses niya." Sabi niya, "Thank you, Anna. Thank you." Sabi ko, "Okay naman, siyempre naman." And then, a few minutes later, I got a call. And nire-revive nila si Rafael. But that's not the part I want to tell you. After the efforts to try to revive, so I got to the hospital and I saw their efforts at trying to revive Rafael. I always put it us. We wanted to give the best effort. But after all the effort to revive him came to an end. And they pulled away from Rafael and they declared the time of death to be 6:49 p.m. And all the mess around him was clear. Rafael lay on his hospital bed, very still, and I have to tell you, he looked so much at peace. Talagang yung mukha niya, very, very peaceful. So, looking at him then, bigla akong natawa. Kasi narinig ko yung kanyang tula. I was standing at the foot of his bed, looking at him on the bed, and I heard his voice in my ear. Sabi ko, galing mo, nagbibigay ka pa. So I knew what poem I have to read tonight. Grandma is at home by Rafael Leon. Grandma was at home, so I dove and I swam all over her huge bed. They had taken her out very early that day in a big white van. But she was back very soon. So I stopped and I sat at the foot of her bed. She smiled on her bed as I stopped and I sat and wished for my wings. Then one Sunday, they came in a black van and took her away. I smiled through my tears. As I dove and I swam all over her big bed. So Rafael, go dive, go swim, go through the waves, go home. Go home. We love you, Rafael.
Maraming salamat, Anne. Diyan po nagtatapos ang ating programa. Pasalamatan po natin ang ating magiging na Master of Ceremony, si Viola Stars Cruz. At ang ating buong team, diyan po sila naka-flash sila. Graphics, Arvin Basa, Daniel Benito, Joshua Ine. Video, maraming salamat, Jack Chan. Si Jack po yan, si Kevin. Exhibit ng Niki at ng Department of Interdisciplinary Studies, buong grupo. Si Martina Soliorano at ang Loyola Schools Office of Campus Ministry. At ako pa ito, isa. At yan po, maraming salamat po. At have a safe trip home. And thank you so much for sharing your love and all your care. We continue to look at the exhibit outside po.
Hi, Ellen. Hi. Ako si Boy Ayasas, anak ni Benux Ayasas. Condolenza. Nasa California.
Insiders.
Tagating ko lang kaming buko. Pagka kanina mo ako, tumiretso.
Naalala ko. Dapat ito pinagdala ko sa tinigan man.
Tanda mo ba?
O ano, gusta? Limited yata, ano?
Tapos si Madison. Tapos si Madison. Ano pa rin ito sa atin? Ano sa atin? Yung international. Kasi yung yung ito bang kanyang mga Mrs. Ko. Ay, ate na eh. Hello.
Si Dr. Beltran nasa Minnesota pa, pero pinadadala niya.
Thank you.